Hey Marco, how you doing? Getting ready to go in this Barnes and Noble. Just started raining. Hey Sean, hey Dustin. Yeah, tell her I'll be down there this week for sure. I've been driving through there, but I haven't seen anybody. Hey Mark. Hey Kevin. Hey Deborah. Oh, that's cool. How come he didn't go down there then? Because he was on his way to like work this week, so he wasn't going back to home. Hey Carrie. Yeah, I do too. I like the rain really. I've been chasing this rain for about a month. I stayed extra time in Tupelo and also in Nashville. Just kind of died out, and it happened to me again yesterday. Been looking for a real ass kicker, but it just hasn't happened. I heard a little bit of thunder yesterday. Might have heard it on that one little short video I uploaded, but no lightning. You can see this cold air coming in. Yeah, me too. I do too. I'm in Troy. Just left Birmingham. I'm in Troy now. I think it's just a little like small area because you can see over there. I bet it's not raining. I mean, it's been looking like it's going to rain since about 2 o'clock, but finally burst loose a little bit. Oh, has it, Carrie? Oh, okay. New York City. I got to get there this summer, this fall. I haven't been to New York City, and geez, I bet you I haven't been to New York City in 20 years. Yeah, I like the Sunday rain. Hey, Lisa. I didn't do any photography today, which was rare, but it's kind of good too because I won't have anything. I have a couple little videos yet I got to upload, but nothing great. I'm in front of a Barnes and Noble. I just got here and it just started pouring. I haven't been to this Barnes and Noble in probably 8 years. I try to cover them all. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, of course, but there's also you never know when they're going to have a book I didn't see someplace else. Oh, Huntsville, Tracy. I told you I've been to Huntsville a lot. If you go in the Barnes and Noble down there in Huntsville, Barnes and Noble has kind of changed their way of running stores, and now they give much more autonomy to the manager. And if you look in a place like Huntsville, the engineering section, of course, because of your rocket and space connection, is huge. You won't see that kind of section at any other Barnes and Noble. No, I'm not. Just browsing. Nope. Hey, Brittany. No, actually, Barnes and Noble's doing quite well now. The new owners have they're doing well, which is why I buy books there. I don't buy them all there, but I buy a lot of them there. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Mary. How you doing? Hey, LA. Yeah, Florida. You better believe it's raining. It'll be raining there all the way till November. Yeah, you need to, if you're living in Florida, you got to get a GoPro. I'm telling you, man, you're in storm paradise down there. And just to do time lapse, uh, it's waterproof. You can go set it out in a chair when a big old ass kicker lightning storm comes through. And you're in a great place for a GoPro, Florida. Oh, spring cleaning, that a girl. Hey, Telly. Hey, Faye. Hey, Graphic. Yeah, it's kind of a crappy day today. I will be going that way, by the way. I am going to go down there. This is John R. right out here. So I'm only about 6 miles away. Yeah, this is a nice rain. Cold rain, too. Freeze your ass off. I mean, this is a cold rain. How did Sharon's game show thing go last night? Did it go okay? Just hang around and watch, Igor. You'll figure it out. We don't spell everything out. No, it's been actually nice. Too damn hot though, man. It's been too hot in the days. It was only supposed to be hot for like 2 days in a row and ended up being 5 days in a row. It's like August weather in early April. It's bullshit. Oh, good, wholesome, drama free. That's because you got all the problem people blocked. Hey, Alethea, how you doing? Yeah, I don't mind it raining at all though. Rain forces me to like quit driving my ass off and taking photos. It makes me and I wanted to check this Barnes and Noble out anyway, but it forces me to do things inside. I'm way behind in my reading, but I don't really care. I take good days when I can get them, and when they end, that's no problem because I got plenty of things that I got to catch up on my reading. I got to read. I got that audio recorder I got to record bird sounds and frogs and stuff. I got a long way to go on that. That's like a lot of complicated reading. I don't really know too much about quality sound recording, and just winging it isn't working very well for me. It's not like a GoPro. Oh, I don't think anybody'd buy it, Jeremy. I don't think they'd buy it. I think they'd fall asleep. Yeah, I hung out in a buddy with mine. We went all over Bloomfield Hills and stuff, West Bloomfield, Birmingham. Went out and got a nice sushi dinner, and then I headed over here. Yeah, I'm not into that. I don't even listen to music driving down the road anymore. I bet I haven't turned my radio on, and God, I can't even tell you the last time. Only time I turn it on now is if I'm going up to the Mackinac Bridge and they have one of those wind alerts, and I'm wondering if there's gonna be a delay. I don't know why. I just don't. I don't listen to talk radio or anything. No, not that much, Jeremy. Yeah, there's a Telway on Michigan Avenue. I don't like them. Oh, thank you. Yeah, speaking of those photographs, thanks for the compliment. But that's a dedicated infrared camera. It's the only kind of photo I could take out of that camera, which I'm fine with. That's why I bought it. But on those photos, anybody sees a photo that they like, I tested it out last night. I'll be glad to send you a copy of it. I can attach it to an email. It's a large file. It's 46 megapixels. The good news is you can make 3 foot by 4 foot printed enlargements, and you don't lose any resolution. It's crystal clear. That's why I got that camera. Well, actually, that one's not. That one's 36 megapixel. So really, I would think I would go with 2 to 3 feet, and it'll be crystal clear. It's not going to be a washed out photo. But I've already sent some to some people. They like some of those infrared photos. I think they're cool looking. It's funny when the color when it's suitable for color shots, which I'm not really big on anyway. It's one condition, but either it's one or the other. It's a good infrared day or it's a good color day. And now with two different cameras, two good cameras, it really doesn't matter where I'm at or what the weather is. I've got a camera that'll make it look good. If I took those same infrared shots with color, you wouldn't think much of them. It just looked like, what's this? But with infrared, it can be a parking lot, a picnic table in a park because it looks dark and the clouds look white. Just they're interesting, which is why I got it. Oh, be glad to. Yeah, I do. I do that and all. I don't want to advertise this too much, but I do it all the time, and that is, I've been doing this a while, right? I hate reading manuals. I hate reading technical books. But when you take as many photos as I have, you figure out what they were talking about that you should have learned at the beginning with different ways of doing photos. I got it pretty down now, only because I've made the same mistake 1,000 times, and you tend to remember it when you mess up that much. But when I'm in areas, people ask me sometimes if, like, I've had farmers do it up where I live, if I take photos of their barn. Before you know it, you've worked 50 years and you don't have any good photos of your homestead. So what I tell people is you get an SD card. I'll tell you which one to get. They're cheap. I'll come over to where you are. I'll take pictures of you, your family, whatever, your farm, your goats, your pigs, and I'll take give you the SD card and it's yours. And I'll take off. And that way you got all these images on a quality camera that are great for enlargements. And you don't need to get ripped off paying people. Yeah, I have been down there. I've been down there. What I do is when I get up in the morning, that's the first thing I do. I cut down through Michigan Avenue, and then I got cut down through Maddie and Gerald's neighborhood, and I haven't seen anybody. I don't know how long I've been here now, a week, 10 days, something like that. And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to waste a whole month of driving my ass off and not seeing anybody. So I kind of get out of Dodge now if there's nothing going on. So what I do when I make that pass, if I don't see anybody, I get my Big B coffee, and then I hit the road doing other things. There's nothing worse than putting a couple of weeks together of not having a bunch of stuff you didn't hand out, not getting any interviews, and really not having anything to show for the 2 weeks you've spent driving your ass off. So I've kind of changed my way. If it works and they're there, I'm happy for it. If it's not, I'll go do something else. Hey, Richard. Hey, Semka. No, I'm in Troy. Troy. Yeah. Yeah, you should take some photos. I mean, there's been 2 times in my life where I've been places. Once was at the National Dunes in Indiana, and another time was up on Mackinac Island, where I'll just see like a perfect shot of a photo, and I'll tell people, I'll say, "Hey, look, if you want, I'll take a picture of you, and I'll send it to you in an email." So say, "Yeah, would you? Hey, that's no problem." Get their email, take a picture of them, send it to them. And 2 times I've had people of the couple die and say, "Hey, do you have any other photos for when you took those photos?" It's like, "Yeah, I'll do. I'll even send you the ones that I didn't think, cut the mustard." So I've learned through doing this that a lot of times just spur of the moment photos when it wasn't planned. Sometimes they're the only photos people ever end up having of someone because, like I said, farmers are notorious for it. 40 years without a day off, and before you know it, you're realizing you don't have any farm pictures. And a guy like me comes around, says, "Hey, you want me to take..." Sometimes I see like such cool looking buildings or farms or whatever. I'll take 10 shots, go ring the doorbell. It's like, "Hey, this isn't my business. And pardon me if you're offended, but I just happen to be driving by here, and this is like the most killer shot you could ask for. How about if I send you these in an email?" And they say, "Yeah, hell yeah, do it." No, you're right. You got that right, Kathy. Yeah, I'm from Michigan. No, I'm not from. I'm from not far from there though. I'm from Flat Rock, Michigan, but I've spent. I left Michigan in year I leave there '92 and never moved back until like 10 years ago. So I was gone a long time. But even when I was not in Michigan, I still bought a yearly park pass, and I still visited a lot. No, yeah, I believe that. Yeah, hidden culture. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, it's true. I know. Like I knew yesterday when I was out waiting for a storm to come in. I don't mind because I hear spring peepers and I might catch a bald eagle flying by or something. There's always something to do, but I kind of got low on the things to do because, I'm taking some railroad track pictures and that kind of thing. And then I thought, then I got looking at that train track gate. And that's some really fantastic welding. and it's all polished aluminum, stainless steel. So there's quite a bit of money that goes into one of those, and that's some pretty interesting engineering. So I thought, shit, I'll take a few pictures of this. You just drive by them your whole life, but when you get to look how heavy duty they're constructed and the purpose they serve, it's a pretty interesting piece of machinery. Well, Michigan's a good state. Yeah, it's good. Well, you're in a pretty good spot because, Detroit Airport isn't in Detroit, it's in Romulus. So you're already 20 miles west of the city. It's like that in a lot of places. The airport isn't in the town, even though they call it that. But you're in a pretty good area to visit a lot of cool things. Yeah, spring peepers are cool. I think they're really neat. It's crazy something that small. The cicadas are coming, 17-year hibernation. They're all coming out this year, unless they got COVID. Yeah, Michigan's a beautiful place. Summer's where I'm at, or somebody else. Summer's where I'm at, or well, they used to be good, but shit, we had Texas weather all summer long last year, kind of like Florida. Oh, that'd be cool. And even here, it's 80 degrees 2 days in a row here. It's nuts for early April. Now, the trees, a lot of trees just sprung yesterday and today. You get a rain, a lot of them. They went from buds to beginning leaves yesterday and today. Oh, did they? Okay. Oh, yeah, really beautiful state. Yeah, it's funny. That's like anything, though, Like, I traveled quite a bit when I was younger and, when I got older. But, when you got a job and you only got 2 weeks off, you're probably not going to take your 2 weeks to Lexington or Louisville, Kentucky. You're going to go to Disneyland with your kids or Hawaii or Florida in the winter or something like that. So there's a lot of great places out there that you really, unless you who has 2 weeks to spend in Louisville and Lexington? I do. I didn't then, but I do now. And once you get to see a part of a place that you're not going to find through a travel show and you're not going to know it through reading. So unless you get lucky on a TV show or a book you read and it draws you to the area, there are so many interesting places that you would love to spend 2 weeks that you never hear about unless you were just a guy like me that happened to be driving through and thinking, wow, this is really cool. I should have skipped Hawaii and spent 2 weeks here. I'll give you two perfect examples. Oxford, Mississippi. Go on the internet and look at Oxford, Mississippi, and Tupelo. Tupelo. Those are two places. And then look at Lexington and Louisville. Man, those are quality places to just really have a good time and see a different side of where you're from. Well, I'll tell you, the only tip I got on saving money in his hotel is stay at him a lot like I do and rack up free points. Now, I'm a big Red Roof Inn guy, but the only reason for that is because a dog. I got to have a dog. And if you got a dog and it's not a Red Roof Inn, get ready to bend over because they will burn you for every extra charge they can think about. And they don't want the dog there when you're not. And it's just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I expect anytime soon the Red Roof Inn's going to allow you to bring a bull moose in your room. Once you lose out on the business traveler, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. You're going to have to appeal to another market. And I'm not saying that's the best in the world, but it keeps the prices low. So I'm a big Red Roof Inn fan. But I will tell you this, in the summertime, anywhere you go, particularly out west, any of the national parks, you're going to pay up the ass. There's no deals. You look at all those hotels and motels off the expressway, anywhere, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, all these places, you're going to pay full rate. You may get 10% off because you're an AARP or a AAA guy. But even then, I wouldn't count on it. There's no deals on those hotels, man. It's supply and demand. Most places, if you're just on the road and you don't have a reservation, you pull in at 4 o'clock, you're ready too late. The rooms are sold. And like take the west entrance of Yellowstone as an example. You get trapped there without a reservation, you are screwed. There's people at West Yellowstone out in the middle of nowhere, nothing to do. And those rates are $500-600 a night, no shit. In Red Roof Inns, Motel Sixes, both of them, it's a roll of the dice. Some are great. It's a good budget place to stay, no frills. And others, you take your life into your own hands, and you never know until you get there. For the first time in a long time, when I went into Louisville, I figured I knew that was a UPS port hub, and I knew there'd be a lot of planes taking off and landing. So I thought, wow, this will be great. I'll be in Louisville, maybe get some good aircraft shots. When I pulled in that parking lot, I thought, there ain't no way in hell I'm staying here. And that's when I went to the one over on East Louisville, which I'm glad that I did, Hurstbourne. If Louisville interests you, that's a great place to stay, Hurstbourne. Hurstborne. You're only 9 miles from downtown, and it's nice. Cheyenne, Wyoming is great. Oh, that'll be good. No, no Arabic homeless. No, nope. No Arabic homeless. Nope. That's a good question. I hadn't been to Deadwood, South Dakota in about 20 years, and I was out there last fall. And what a disappointment. I mean, there's places that I've uh, went that I just didn't even recognize. Deadwood was one, and Williston, North Dakota, was the same way. It's just like, man, I don't even recognize these places. I'll tell you another beautiful place to go if you like scenery. I like the open plains, like Montana, big sky country. But I'll tell you another very nice place to stay, really super cool, is Minot, North Dakota. Great town. You'd never guess that. Fargo's great. Rapid City, South Dakota's great. Just cool places. You want to really have a good time and really, if you like photography or do the things that I do, Havre, Montana, Havre. That's where I interviewed the farmer, Charlie. Boy, you want to see old towns. Even a big town in Montana is considered 20,000. You're not going to be going through Denver's or Atlanta's, man. It's great out there. 80 miles an hour is the speed limit. Just haul ass, man. You can see 25 miles down the road. See the whole train going down the track, every car, just wide open. Oh, dementia, that sucks. Yeah, Duluth's great. Yeah, they ought to be bringing a lot of freighters out of there. They're probably already launching freighters. Duluth is a great town. That's another place you're going to get bent over on your hotel rooms. No, hauling ass. You can do 85 and nobody pulls you over. You never see any cops. Just a band. As you head west, once you get like west of Minnesota and you're heading west, the further west you go, all the way until you're on the very west end of Montana, it gets drier. It gets drier. And because of that, buildings don't fall apart like they do in places where there's a lot of moisture. So you'll see just one cool building after another, grain elevators. They're abandoned, they're old, but the roof isn't collapsed. And you'll see cars, 50s, 60s, 40s, 70s, all over the place out in fields, not a rust spot on them. The paint's all faded, the windows have cracked or knocked out, but the metal's good. And that's what gives those places a unique look. Stuff doesn't deteriorate there like it does in other parts of the country. Yeah, sorry about that, Tracy. Yeah, you like it, Papa. Yeah, Indiana's cool. Hey, Terry. Yeah, I've been doing this my whole life, actually. I mean, even when I was in high school, I was taking trips by myself and sleeping in the car when I was a junior in high school up into northern Canada. So I've been doing this my whole life. It's just, up until YouTube, like you didn't have anybody to show it to. It'd say, hey, I just drove out to Glacier National Park. I got a $300 ticket while I was there for using my camera. I drove back. Man, you wouldn't have believed all the cool things I'd say. And they'd say, yeah, yeah, good for you. That'd be the end of it. Nothing to show them, nothing for them to watch. Now I upload everything everywhere. And I've been doing that for 10 years. I could have had 50 years worth of this. But because, I'm at the age where YouTube started when I was older, I got on it as soon as I could. And I don't do any other social media. But if I'd have had YouTube since I was like 15, I would like be really having a good time. Yeah, I think so, Simka. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Yep. Hey, Frank. Yeah, Wyoming's a really beautiful state. Hey, I'll tell you this. Uh, every place has a place that you're going to love that you just don't know about. Watch these travel channels and going to Hawaii. Hawaii sucks. It really does. But that's not how it's marketed to you. You just think you're going to be drinking a Mai Tai and eating a big piece of mahi mahi and seeing girls and hula skirts and seeing this fog around the mountains and drinking this kick-ass Blue Mountain coffee. It's a big giant tourist trap, if you ask me. There's way better. You'd be better off going to Tupelo, Missouri. You'd have more fun and it'd cost a lot less. And your contacts wouldn't stick to your pupils because the air was so dry. Every place has got a good place you'd enjoy. Yeah, I'm not a Bahamas guy at all. Yeah, I'm not into that at all. That's another big tourist trap. Get your hair braided, buy some illegal marijuana, eat some jerk chicken, go get an aluminum canoe with two fake bamboo things welded on the side, go down some bullshit creek, listen to reggae, drink a rum drink in a half of a plastic coconut, get your caricature drawn on the street, and then it's over. Yeah, no, I think I took a Alaska cruise one time. I like that, but I'm not into the uh, other kind of cruises. This drinking bullshit, talent show, sitting at a table with a bunch of people and being forced to talk about bullshit. It's just not for me. Going to learn about I don't know, whatever, how to crochet. And if you get out, like I don't eat in high end places, but I think I eat good low cost food. And I'm telling you, man, that cruise food to me sucks. It's all canned cheap shit brought in with a forklift. But if you're not like on know what like good nachos are, let's say from Detroit, and you get on there, it's like I would consider cruise ship food like eating out at a 7-Eleven. It's not good, but there's lots of it. You got 100 kinds of cakes, and all this other bullshit. Yeah, I just don't like the small talk on that. Like here's something. I never thought of this, but I noticed in Hilton Head, uh, South Carolina, it's all old rich people. Which I'm not saying there's anything bad with that, but it isn't quite lighting the fire for great discussion and excitement like you'd like. You know what I mean? Nobody works down there. It's all like a line at Starbucks. They don't even go to the beach and they live on the beach. Crazy. Maybe it's because they can look out the window. I don't know. See, everything's an hour wait for a 2 ounce ribeye that's $140. It's it's a pain in the ass down there. You couldn't give me a place. I did like visiting. I got to see my friends, but as far as living down there, you can have it. No way. I'd rather be in Toledo, Ohio. Yeah, nah, the cruise ship. If you're young. You don't know shit. I mean, sitting around wanting to get the hell out of Dodge. It's like they're experts at marketing. You just think that you're going to get on this big ship and you're not going to have to drive, which a lot of people hate to do. I'm not one of them. And you're just going to like look out at the seagulls flying by your window and smiling and the blue water, and maybe you'll see a whale or a porpoise, which I guarantee you won't. And then you just fall asleep half drunk. Maybe jack off 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, fall back asleep again. Get up, and here you're at a port, and you were on your way there while you were sleeping. And that's kind of fun. Then you get off there, and it's like, wow, we're here already? Wow, this is so great. I slept through the whole way. And then you get out there, and if you're in Jamaica, it's all the same shit. Yeah. Yeah, not for me. But if you really want to have it is so shocking. You can't, stereotypes occur because of the way it's presented to you through the media. Like the Mississippi Ripper, Huckleberry Finn. You keep waiting to see with a kid with a straw hat and a black guy talking to each other going down the river on a raft. Not happening. And Mississippi's kind of sold like that too. Most of the stuff that I've seen on Mississippi is they show you poverty. They let everybody know that tunic is going broke. Then they show you the median income and the unemployment. You're thinking, why in the hell would I want to go to Mississippi? I'll tell you why. Because they're not showing you the cool, interesting parts. Now, you look at Clarksdale, they market Clarksdale as the origin of the blues, which is probably true. Now, the truth of the matter is, you take your life in your own hands when you're in Clarksdale. I'm not shitting you. I mean, you can kind of figure places out by what's there. If you've got a Starbucks and a Barnes and Noble within 50 miles, you're probably in a pretty good area. When you don't have any named motels or hotels and they're selling it as a tourist place, like Clarksdale's, Mississippi, make sure your life insurance is paid up. You have godparents to take care of your children when you get murdered, and that you can push the couch up against the door in your $49 hotel room. Clarksdale is dangerous. But if you're a blues fan, you may not know that. And if you go to the Chamber of Commerce and you look up Clarksdale, you're going to think, wow, this is great. They're going to show like the all American couple, two kids going to blues, researching blues, appreciating American history. It's not like that. It's a dangerous place. Yeah. Hey, Philip. Nah, but so here's an example. You tend, and I've had this happen to me too. You get this stuff in your mind, and you're thinking you only get sold certain parts of it. Go look at Oxford, Mississippi as a perfect example, and it's a pretty safe bet, by and large, when there's a main university in that town. There, it does. It helps. I don't care whether it's Madison, Wisconsin, East Lansing, Oxford. It matters. Good, running like a top. Yeah, so you don't know, but you want to have a good southern experience. Go spend a week in Oxford. Go spend a week in Tupelo. And a guy like me, I like the Mississippi Delta. I love the Great Plains states. I love those big, long, open views. Man, that Mississippi Delta, man, to me, like miles and miles of cotton fields and that Mississippi River, it's different. It's not the crystal clear blue water like where Mary lives. It's not like swimming in the clear water in the Bahamas. It's a muddy, murky, looks like you'd be dead in 30 seconds if you fell into it. If you read data on the Mississippi River, the real bad areas are about the last 225 miles. And that's 2,350 miles long, by the way. So you really don't get into the real bad area until you get down to where it starts to begin to dump off into the Gulf. But up from where it begins in Minnesota and down through the other states, there's a lot of rich history. I mean, it's a world class river right in the country you live in. It's impressive. But, if you like clear water and goggles and rainbow trout, you probably don't want to go there. But I appreciate it for its own inherent details. Yeah, you would. That's a great area where Mary lives. Fantastic. Looks like paradise. It does. Oh, I've been to LaPorte quite a few times. Yep. They won the state basketball. I think Scott Skiles is from there. Yeah, Leelanau County's beautiful. See, that's the thing. I've been to New Orleans a couple times, and honestly, you're never going to be presented with all the data you want to sometimes make a rational decision. Sometimes it's off the cuff bullshit. And I'm sure I've made plenty of bad decisions and I've missed out on a bunch of great places. But all I can do is make the best decision with the information that I've been exposed to. And I'm sure there's been good places, and I saw that, they had 3 drive-by shootings within 3 hours, and I thought, fuck that place. I'm not going there. I mean, what are they, not afraid of the cops or what? So I've probably made some big mistakes on places that I've not gone to. But, that's how life is, man. You can ignore it or you can not believe it, and you can go there and maybe it's going to be good, maybe it's not. Hey, Holly. Holly, how you doing? You still living down there in Florida? No, it's not doing too good down here. That's right. The numbers are higher than they were at the peak at places in Wayne County. Old Whitmer is in between a rock and a hard place now. I mean, she's going to basically guarantee never getting reelected, even if she does the right thing, which is why they have a 2-week voluntary no indoor dining. Well, you know how that works. The government's learned a long time ago when you leave people, a lot of people, when you leave it up to them to protect themselves, they don't do very well. So the government has to step in and protect their dumbasses. And I expect a complete shutdown any day because the data is there. Oh, your priest has COVID, huh? Well, just go remind him that Jesus has a plan for him. Hey, Terry. Hey, phenomenal. How are you? Yeah, I'm sure these businesses that have been able to hang on through this year of this bullshit are about ready to commit Harry Carey with the writing on the wall because it's there. I mean, this is not good. Hey, Sharon. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah, yeah, Ontario. They're not screwing around with that. It's got to absolutely kill the economy, like in Windsor. Even these border towns, like up in North Dakota and stuff like that. There's a lot of these towns that get by Canadian visitors and vice versa. America, Sault Ste. Marie, Americans going over to Canada. And now that that's been killed, it is just, killed you. They're already agreeing to, like, here you got a restaurant. You barely make it when you're busy all summer long. And now you got people sitting 6 feet apart. It's like you're agreeing to 75% less business than what you know takes to keep the doors open. Everybody's agreeing to slowly go broke, but there's nothing else to do. It's like staying in a bad marriage. Yeah, it sucks, but you really don't have anything better going on. So before you know it, you've put in 10 years of misery. Oh, a shutdown is coming for sure, at least in this state. But people are already stressed out about this, about ready to go batshit crazy. I mean, people, normal law-abiding citizens, are about ready to go to the rubber room because of this stress of COVID. Even if you're getting paid, if you're not going to work and you're just sitting home all day, that's enough to drive you nuts. Look at this lady is way off parking this car. Not even close. Now here's a person that ought to have those side sensors no matter how much they cost. Still way off. No, I haven't heard about that, David. Yeah, you're right, Kevin. It's true. I'd like to see this person parallel park someplace. Look at this poor guy. He's already crossing his fingers. He got lucky. Yeah, he thought he was going to go for it. Get the hell out of there for his car's caved in. Yeah, trying to park. No, it wouldn't be driver's ed because the guy with the steering wheel on the right side would have taken over by now. See, now there's a program in Michigan where you can write down that plate number and you can send it to local law enforcement. And believe it or not, they'll do a mandatory driver's check. Say that this person is unsafe on the road and they need to be tested, which is a good idea in this case. Here's a perfect example. There's got to be some cognitive issue here parking like this. This is odd. Yeah, no, there's something going on here for sure. I want to see if it's a 3-year-old getting out. With a diaper on. Got a hold of dad's keys. No, I'm curious too. Oh, it's a lady with a cane. Yeah, I would. She definitely needs to be evaluated. No, I don't think so. But there definitely needs to be a evaluation there. She's going to see if the right end's totally trashed. Nope. Close. Yeah. I'd give her $100 to video or parallel parking. No, it is okay, yeah. Shining out to the west. Yeah, Buttercup, that's always a possibility. No way. I'm in Troy, Michigan. No, she just checked. Maybe her hearing's bad too because she should have heard it. Right, Buttercup, yeah. She's probably going in and looking for a book. Should I quit driving? Question mark. When the day comes you're not sure you're safe on the road or not. No, not on my way home, nope. I just got a call from a lady up there I know that there was a nice couple in my town. I used to get together with him all the time. He's a retired judge, and she was a sweetheart. And I was actually good friends with her daughter, but her husband was jealous and said that he didn't want her hanging around me anymore. So that ended that about 5 years ago, even though it was all platonic, nothing to worry about. But I used to go over there for dinner, and we'd do stuff, and it just kind of ended when the husband had a fit. And, my doctor buddy says you don't age gracefully. It happens in big chunks. And sure as shit, they go to Florida every winter. They have a home in Florida. In December, we got a light snow, and she went out on the uh, porch to put some bird feed in or something. They stayed later than they normally did because of some reason. They usually go at Thanksgiving. Fell, broke her hip, struggled through therapy, hated it, didn't want to go, got kind of argumentative, and she's a sweet lady. Uh, Died yesterday. But that's exactly the way he says that it happens. It starts out and you break a leg, you gain weight, you don't get out, your blood pressure goes up. It's a series of events. It's just not like dead one day. Of course, that happens. But boy, if you'd have saw her a year ago, I know a guy that collects Rolls Royces, old ones. Believe it or not, they're not that expensive. You can get them all day long for 25 grand. And the judge has one, the husband. But just before COVID, he had an ignition problem that nobody seemed to fix. So he had the thing towed over on a truck to Windsor, Ontario. There's a Rolls Royce specialist. And they fixed it, and it was a bill of 7 grand. Well, they haven't been able to go get it because of COVID. You can't cross the border for that kind of bullshit. So here his wife's dead. His Rolls Royce is in Windsor, and he moved into an assisted living care facility because she was going downhill. She's dead. Now he's there all alone. A year ago, they were both going to the casino having a good time. But it all started with a fall, is my point. And why we're on that subject, another thing I want to tell you that my buddy says. Now, this is a practicing physician for 40 years, 50 years and above. Do not get on a ladder for any circumstances. I know you can jump up and down on your Richard Simmons trampoline 2,000 times without breaking your ass, but that's different than being on a ladder. And when you age and you get older, your balance isn't as good. It just happens. It's the same reason why there aren't 50-year-old quarterbacks in the NFL. Nobody wants to admit it. And a really bad way of believing this is by falling off a ladder, changing a light bulb. Don't do it. Get one of those things where you can extend the pole and screw it in from the ground. Don't climb on anything for any reason. 50 years old and older. And God forbid, do not get on the roof. All those muscles in your legs that where you could jump in between the peaks and run up and down and throw frisbees when you were a kid, those all are weak and old now. And your stabilizer muscles, the minute you hit that 130-degree angle on the top, your ass is rolling off that roof and you'll be right back in the shit bucket again. Right, 10 lawyers. That's the old joke to go with. Well, what's the difference between screech marks in the highway with a dead snake and a dead attorney? People tried to stop for the snake. There are none for the attorney. Speaking of ladders, I see that company that was in business for 125 years, Ypsilanti Ladder Company, closed their doors. COVID finished them off. 125 years. COVID finished them off. Closed their doors. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, no, it happens, man. It happens. There was about. I haven't worked out in about a year and a half, and I used to work out like a nut all the time. Just got rid of didn't feel like it that much. I'm gonna go back to it, I think, but we'll see, right? But anyway, I was on Belle Isle about 3 years ago, and I had a brand new camera. And in order to keep the place from disappearing because of high water, they've put these big, giant, jagged 500 pieces of concrete around the island to, stave off erosion. And there was this really cool looking ice. It was like maybe an eighth of an inch thick, clear, and it was bunching up against the water and it was making noise. And I thought, God, if I just hop down there on that big slab of rock, I'd get some really good video. Get down low. And I had a brand new camera. Now, mind you, I hadn't been doing shit like this. Just walking in a straight line isn't a good test. And it was maybe a 18-inch drop off. And I jumped over that goddamn thing and jumped down. And I knew the second I landed, this is not a good idea. And I actually bottomed all the way out and was probably a half pound of pressure away from breaking my angle and dropping my camera. And I didn't do either. And I thought, that's it, man. You are getting old, man. You got to quit doing this bullshit. My doctor buddy, workout fanatic, health nut, about 2 months ago, coming back from their home in Traverse City, got out and the kid had to go to the bathroom and he thought while the kid was in there, he'd go in and buy a lottery ticket. He said he jumped sideways, not forward like you were jumping over a puddle, but sideways, only about just a little distance to jump over a puddle. And he briefly felt his hip go in and out of socket. He said it hurt like a bitch. And he actually ruptured some blood vessels. Now, it healed and there's no problem. But the point here is, accept getting older. And usually you got to hurt yourself to realize that you're not 25. Even though you can jump up and down on your Richard Simmons mini trampoline 2,000 times, that's not climbing at an angle on a roof, balancing trying to screw a light bulb in on a ladder, or jumping on a rock like I did with a camera in your hand. It's worn out. It's worn out. The wheels, it's just like age. 412,000 miles, and I've been just worn out, worn it out. Yeah, but I think sometimes, like, not believing this is happening is what gets you in trouble. You're looking around, you're thinking, wow, I could do that and I can do this. And you're seeing people you graduated with and they got a walker and they're doing this and they're doing that. And you think, God, I'm glad I never let myself go like that. Well, that may be true. And you may be worlds away from them as far as fitness, but you're not 25. And, like I said, you usually have to hurt yourself. When I was living down in Chicago, that was kind of an upper end health club. I mean, Jordan went there. All the movie stars, when they came into town, worked out there. It was 500 to join, 125 a month, which, 20 years ago was like a little bit expensive. But we had a lot of middle-aged, attractive women and good-looking guys, and there was a lot of models and professionals. They were fucking themselves up left and right, fracturing their ankles. I know of 3 guys that had to get back surgery from trying to lift too heavy weights. And these were in-shape guys. But they're older, middle-aged guys thinking that, they're going to beat time and they're going to be able to. I know another guy that was an assistant manager there that tore a pectoral muscle because he was trying to out-bench press a college football player. And I'm sure 15 years earlier, he could have. But he was a 45-year-old guy and tore his pectoral muscle trying to jack up this crazy weight. But there were women in there all the time doing, they used to have like these contests, like kind of like rock climbing, real heavy endurance. And you'd do all this bullshit, 50 squats and 20 push-ups and swing off the monkey bars and, first prize, second prize, third prize. They were fucking themselves up left and right. Fractures, uh, contusions, sprains, you name it. You're not young again. God, and you're 18 years old, you fall off a motorcycle, pick it back up and get back on it and ride home and go to bed. It's not like that when you're 50. No, that's exactly it, Kevin. It's a stupid exercise. It's not functional strength. That's exactly right. And if you go to health clubs, you'll see all sorts of guys in there with like, 18-inch biceps and their their legs look like 80-year-old ladies. Little skinny bird legs. All they do is like bench press, curls, and tricep extensions. Yeah, it's an ego lift. You're right. That'll do it, dog. Yep. But I don't think anything takes its toll on your body like smoking. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny thing about bodybuilding though. I was when I first moved to Florida, I moved to Orlando and I was building a new house there and I lived in building a new house in Buena Vista. And I never moved into it. I sold it before I moved into it. My dogs killed one of my parrots, so I just went down and bought another parrot and thought, I'd rather live down here. I made 50 grand on it, never moved into it. Man, are those days over. But anyway, they had a fitness contest, and they had these bodybuilders there. And one of the guys was a guy, look him up on the internet, Barry DeMay or LeMay. Was it Barry? Maybe it was LeMay or DeMay. Looked like a model guy plus a bodybuilder. And you hear women, oh, those muscles are big, they're gross. And there was some famous karate girl. She had all sorts of titles, super good looking. I mean, she looked like a damn supermodel. Here she was, some ding. And you wouldn't have believed she was doing everything but strip this guy right down the middle of the meat to hook up with him. He just was kind of blowing her off. I'm not shitting you. I'll never forget it. There had to be a line of 200 yards long of good-looking women wanting to get his autograph. So this notion that, muscles are big, it's gross. Well, believe me, I saw about 300 women that didn't have a problem with it at all. No, I know, Connie. Yeah, I do it too. I've seen that at University of Michigan Cancer Unit. Uh, you tend to think because nicotine is sold at your friendly Walgreens who claims to care for your health that it's not bad, but by now I think everybody pretty knows how bad it is. But nicotine changes your brain. It's tough to quit. And you can, and I think this is valid because you can quit smoking for 20 years and go to a wedding reception and have a few drinks and think you're just going to smoke one cigarette and you'll be back smoking the next day just like you'd never quit. That's compelling. It's a terrible death. Yeah, COPD is a bitch. It's essentially like drowning. But that goes to show you the level of addiction with nicotine. It's tough. Yeah, very hard. Hey Deanna, how you doing? Yeah, huge addiction. Well, the cigarette companies knew it, which is why they were spiking the cigarettes with additives, and because they realized, God, if we've got them hooked this good on just nicotine, And the reason that they had to pay out so much is they got caught lying. And once through discovery, they figured out that they were well aware of the effects. It's the same way why this opioid manufacturers are getting their ass sued off. They knew the addicted uh, consequences of these medications, and they were downplaying it. And once you get caught lying in a civil litigation, and the other side, the plaintiff's attorneys, has evidence of this, you might as well get the checkbook out. No, yeah, emphysema. Yeah, it's true. It's funny. Some people get COPD and they never smoked. But that COPD is no way. My sister's got it. I'm surprised she's still alive. I think she's barely alive. The lady that called me today about her, well, not her, but the daughter of the lady that died. Yeah, it's a bitch quitting smoking. Yeah. And then if you look at the statistics, that's what got Christopher Reeve's wife. Secondhand smoke. She was a singer in lounges. There's another example of how life can turn on you. Christopher Reeve and his wife, nice looking couple, had it made, houses all over the world, endless supply of money, owned his own airplane. Then they get into dressage horses and jumpers. I know people that were into that. Down where I have my place in Florida, that's a big, huge horse deal. And there were people that would stay at the bed and breakfast sometimes that actually crossed paths with him along the way. And they said he was just an accident looking for a place to happen. That kind of bought their way into a rich guy's hobby. Now, I can't prove this to you, but there are a lot of articles suggesting this is probably accurate. But he gave the wrong command to that horse as they were getting ready to jump over that thing. It wasn't the horse's fault. He gave it the wrong signal, and it stopped dead, and he fell off, and it was a broken neck, and there you go. That's another one of those chunk stories. You fall off a horse, you become paralyzed, you get lung infections. He dies. She gets lung cancer from secondhand smoke. They're both dead. Yeah. Oh, thank you, B-Dog. Hey, intellectual. So, I mean, yeah, life can change in any minute. I don't know why I think of this, but here about a year ago or so, there was a couple was down south of Monroe, Michigan, which is maybe 50 miles from where I'm at now. He was a doctor. She was a doctor. He was an attorney. They had 2 kids. They took a 2-week vacation to Florida. And this is what I don't understand, too. Here's another thing, too. When you're tired, particularly when you've got young kids, people will go out and blow $5,000 at Disneyland for 4 days. And then they're too cheap to get an extra night in a hotel. They don't want to spend the money for the hotel. I don't know that that's what happened to these people. But what I do know is they were driving northbound on I-75 at 3 in the morning now. Why wouldn't you be in a hotel? Probably because one of them had to go to work. But they end up getting hit head on by a drunk driver going the wrong way. Killed the whole damn family. Another example, the guy that owned that big beverage company in Cleveland, Ohio, he upgraded from turboprops to his own jet. He had a Citation 525. They lived in Columbus. Took the neighbors, his wife, and both their kids, had front row seats to a Cleveland Cavaliers game, flew their private jet to Cleveland from Columbus, went to the game. He'd had like a 16-hour day, which does not bode well for stressful situations. Go back to the airport, shitty conditions. That's a weird airport to fly in and out of anyway. If you take off, you go right over the lake, pitch darkness, you can't see shit. And not only that, he was, as it turned out, unfamiliar with the autopilot. And it was different than the Citation he'd had before that. Anyway, long story short, 15-hour day. You got your neighbor and his daughter, who was a college kid at Wisconsin. You got your wife and your two kids. You got it made. You own your own jet. You own this big mega liquor distributorship. But yet you got the brains to do all this. But you go to this game and you get out of there late and you load everybody up in this jet, single pilot certified, no co-pilot, and you take off in a just abyss of everything wrong. Long story short, he got disoriented, fiddly fucked around with the autopilot. By then it was too late. Let me tell you, I know enough about flying that was a hairy ride. You'd have thought you were on a roller coaster. So I know that those people were shitting bricks. And even if you knew nothing about aviation, you knew when your face was pressed up against the glass that it was not good. They actually, that airplane climbed at 4,200 feet per minute for about 15 seconds, which must have seemed like if you weren't wearing your seatbelt, everybody would have been in the back on top of each other. Then it dove at 5,500 feet per minute, which is like a roller coaster. Then they hit the water. A year later, they found one of their legs floating down around Erie, Pennsylvania, and it was from the neighbor. It was the dad. Here a guy just does some stupid shit like that and kills everybody. His whole family and his innocent neighbors that felt honored that they'd be taking a private jet to a Cleveland Cavaliers game. It's nuts. Yeah. Yep. So, it's just, they say when the weather's bad, you won't see birds flying. And that ain't no shit. And if you ever pay attention to the hurricanes and the tornadoes, how many dead birds you see laying around? None. Because they hide and they get the hell out of there. But people, look at the Muirs, the seafood people. There were 50 sources of media and weather reports that a goddamn bad storm was coming in between Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and the Bahamas, where they were with their rich friends. What do? Leave anyway. They got about a 16-second call on a cell phone that went dead. They were probably screaming at the top of their lungs, "Help me." Never found a thing. Not a cushion, not a hat, not a button, not a life preserver, not a piece of the boat, nothing. Look it up, Muirs. Muers. Here's another funny thing about that. I was living down there at the time. So they never found hide or hair, killed them all, every single one of them. Stupid judgment, right? So a lot of their friends had money. I mean, they were rich people from Detroit, and the people they were with owned car dealerships. And all these people with private planes went out and looked for them. I don't know why. I mean, after one day, when they say that they're looking for survivors and it's in the ocean, I got news for you. It shouldn't take long. But because you got a lot of pressure from the family, you're hoping someone's clinging on to a blow-up rubber. You do it anyway. Makes them feel better, and you never know. You may get lucky. All these friends with their private airplanes went out there, and they're going up and down, helping the Coast Guard, trying to find them. Of course, they never found anything. 6 months later, these people with all these private planes, they billed the estate. They sent them invoices. It's like, hey, we were out there looking for 3.5 hours. Here's 3.5 hours at $2,200 an hour for this citation in this King Air I've got. They billed them. It was a big lawsuit. And their so-called friends said that the heirs consented to the search and it was reasonable. They should have had to pay them. What a bunch of pricks for friends, huh? Yeah, can you imagine that? Yeah, here we're going to go out and help. What a bunch of motherfuckers. Yeah. So there's just crazy shit like this, man. I told you the story before. This was 1999. You can look it up. Palm Beach hair transplant surgeon, death, 1999. He actually lived in Manalapan instead of Palm Beach. So I left my wife, I think, in 98. I had one girlfriend, which didn't last long, thank God. And that was in '99, right when I moved to Chicago. And she wanted to go to Mackinac Island. I didn't own any airplanes at the time, but I got a guy to lend me his airplane from Ann Arbor. So we drive to Ann Arbor. I get in this airplane. She wants to go to Mackinac Island. And I take her to Mackinac Island. What the fuck? So we spend the night there. Spent 2 nights there, actually. And on the way back, the way Mackinac Island works is it's a horse and buggy. You There's no cars, so at the airport they pick you up in a horse and buggy and they take you to town. So when we were leaving, there was a delay, and we get talking, and it's this guy, and there's a bunch of young people, and I was talking to the pilot. It was a King Air C-90. We get talking, and we talked for about a half hour. It was busy. So they got in their airplane, we get in ours, and we're taxiing out. And I said, "No, go ahead of me. It's no problem." So it's an uncontrolled field, so you're just announcing in the blind. Everybody's getting on the frequency and telling them what they're doing. So they take off, and I take off. But before they took off, the pilot says, "Hey, why don't you contact me on this air-to-air frequency?" So we talked about a half hour in the air as they flew south. I didn't think anything of it, and we talked. Hey, how you doing? Where are you going? They actually were hangared in Boca Raton. So a couple days later, it didn't dawn on me. I'd moved from Florida, and a buddy of mine called me down there, and he said, "Hey, we had a King Air crash at West Palm Beach, which was about 30 miles north of Boca, and it killed everybody. And there were 11 people in the plane." It's like, no shit, huh? Now, and I'm not even thinking this is connected, right? So he said, "Yeah, no." I thought, "Oh, that's really bad. It's too bad." And they had determined they'd run out of fuel. I thought, about 4 days later, he called me again. He said, "Hey, you said you were up in Mackinac. This was a King Air." And I said, "But this is C-90?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "But was the guy a doctor?" He said, "Yeah." Those were the people that we had talked to the whole time. As it turns out, they flew to Pontiac, fueled up, took off overloaded, which happens a lot. I think they fell asleep. Now, they never said that in the report, but I think when you go to a lot of people that go to Mackinac Island, this is getting older too. You walk your ass off there, or you rent a bike and you pedal it around the island. And if you're not in shape, that'll kick your ass. So I know they rented bikes while they were there because they told me. So they all 16-hour day, rode your ass off, not in shape. Everybody piles in this plane. They probably had to get back. It was Labor Day. And I think they fell asleep because what happened is the pilot wanted to land at West Palm Beach, and he was going to Boca, and then he ended up declaring emergency. Another 2 feet, they'd all have been alive. Anyway, ran out of fuel trying to make an emergency landing at Palm Beach. Got the gear down, was doing just fine, and that right wheel clipped the corner of a swimming pool wholesale place. Cartwheeled the airplane, it flipped upside down, crashed, killed all of them. All this money, you own your own turboprop plane. He had these hair transplant clinics all over the country. I give the guy an A+ too, because he never tried to sign me up. Killed them all. You have all this money, all this wherewithal. You own your own business. Just take another day off. Killed all of them. Killed his whole office staff. The pilot, the doctor. And as it turns out, the one young, cute 23-year-old, that was his mistress, which is why the wife wasn't on board. Nuts. Yeah, there were some Muir descendants, but that the one in Palm Beach ended up going out of business. The one in Detroit ended up going out of business. There were some descendants, but I get the impression there wasn't that much money left when it was all said and done. Yeah, I don't know that for sure, but look it up. All this stuff's on the internet. Look at Palm Beach hair transplant surgeon, airplane crash, Mackinac Island, Manalapan, because there was big lawsuits over that, and all the kids' parents and were filing lawsuits for wrongful death. The pilot, they were going after his family. It was just a huge mess, but this is all easily preventable. Chuck Muir, yep. Hey, Carla. So it's one dumb decision after another. You'll notice that in airplane crashes a lot. It's never one thing. I'll tell you this, you're going to laugh at this, but if you're in a small airplane, there's no bathroom up there. And, if you're a guy, it's not as big a problem as you're a girl. I mean, that's the fact of the matter people don't know about. And, you know, experienced pilots in small planes carry around an empty bottle because they know the kind of trouble it can get you in. And I was at a Martha and John King seminar one time at Sun and Fun in Florida, the big aviation get together. And there were some statistics out there, like 1% of general aviation crashes were people that had to go to the bathroom in small planes that forced things because they had to go to the bathroom. They shot approaches they shouldn't have shot. They forced an airplane down on the ground when it was floating and they should have just let the energy run out. That sounds absolutely nuts that you're crashing airplanes because you were in a hurry to go to the bathroom. But anybody that's had to go to the bathroom bad understands this. Doesn't matter if you're in a boat, an airplane, a helicopter, whatever. You're doing shit you wouldn't normally do to go to the bathroom. Nuts. Oh, wow. B-47. Wow. Yeah. Nuts. Well, I think I'm going to sign off here. Quit raining, and I think this place closes at 7. So that gives me 45 minutes to see if I've missed any books. So you guys have a good night tonight. Yeah, I had sushi with a buddy of mine about an hour ago. But I don't want to be a dick while I'm with somebody else and whip out my phone and say, hey, let me do a 3-second video on this sushi. It's rude, so I don't do it. It was good sushi, too. I would have liked to. See ya, Jeff. See ya, Buttercup. See you, Sharon. Bye, Mary. See you, Simca. Hey, Hashda. No, big fatigue does a lot of crazy shit to you. You lose your rational decision making. You do. Bye, Faye. See you, Alethea. See you, Sassy. Bye, Amy. See you, old Dad. See you, Terry. I will. Yo, I knew what you meant. See you, Drowsy Doll. See you, Carla. You guys have a good night tonight. Good night.